What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaishino Kami from the Toku and Animation News Network here for the first Q&A from Florida. Alright, so looking at it, even though I have the lights turned off in the back, it's still not very well lit here. So I guess I will have to bring out my light next time I do these live streams, but whatever, it is what it is. Although it illuminates me, so that might be the important part. But anyway, welcome all to a new Q&A. It has been a long time. We've been very busy with the move, leading up to the move, so I just didn't have any time to do any live streams for Q&As, just because it was such a busy time, and I'd rather get as many videos pumped out as I could before we actually made that move. And even then, it didn't happen as well. But all right, there is still some stuff around. Like, let's see, we've got here the movie collection. Come on. Hero Quest, there's video games over there. More, whoops, of the Toku and TV series. And then anime is behind against that wall opposite the Cowboy Bebop picture that you see. Here, let me do it this. That Cowboy Bebop picture right there, the anime is down that way along with the toy room and the library, both of which are not fully cleaned. But then again, not everything around here is fully cleaned because we're still like shifting, finding spots like, oh, why don't we put this here? No, let's move that over there. And so forth. But I see I've got some comments already on. Let's see. I am currently editing my Go-Juger Part 1 review. I just finished this week Kamen Rider X, and I watched Shin Kamen Rider Prologue, so I'll work on those reviews after I'm done with Go-Juger Part 1. My hope is to have Go-Juger Part 1 out by Monday the 25th. And then I'll do X and Shin right after. I have a Godzilla comic review that I'll need to do this week, which is the final issue to Mothra, which I'm happy for because that'll be another comic series done, especially since IDW just kicked off like 4 new Godzilla comic series. And then I have that Kong comic series. And what else have we done? Just been exploring. I found a couple video game stores that sell used games, which is awesome. There's a comic book shop nearby, a regular game store that wasn't exactly the greatest, but it's still cool to have a regular game store around. Lots of great restaurants. Obviously, the beach. The beach has been awesome. Let's see. What else? Well, if you didn't see, I got Ultraman The Adventure Begins the other day from Mill Creek. Mill Creek's been weird with how they ship things now. They're now going through a third-party company for their distributor, and that company has now said they're just going to ship everything that's coming out in a month from them, from Alliance Entertainment. So it doesn't matter if it's Mill Creek or not, they're going to ship it. And I'm not real sure how I feel about that. Because, I mean, sure, it's not like I'm paying for this stuff. But it kind of sucks that they're going to just send me stuff I don't have an interest in. And I feel bad because they're sending them review copies to me when I'm not going to actually review them. But it is what it is. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I just thought of that. Hopefully my mic is actually working. I'm assuming the audio's working, since I don't see anyone saying in the chat the audio's not working. And then let's see. I am 11 episodes into Kaku Ranger, 6 episodes into O Ranger. What else? And the Kaku Ranger movie is done. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm currently working on. That's about it. So, yeah, it's been an interesting time. I'm sure some people ask in the comments, so let's get right to the comments. Chris says, "Hey Kaju, which evil ranger do you prefer more for counterpart, the Niji Rangers or the Psycho Rangers?" Wow, questions right off the bat. Well, actually, that's an easy question. I prefer the Niji Rangers. They have more screen time. They have more development. Well, I guess technically, the Psycho Rangers have the same amount of development, but the Niji Rangers get more screen time and they get to do more damage compared to the Psycho Rangers that obviously had to be dumbed down a bit for kids. Hello, Russian Wanderer, Anthony Sarkis, Star Wars fan, Nick Cooper, Ricardo, PJ Pro. How's the new house? Good. Yep. Well, it's an apartment, not a house, but still, it's good. Good morning. Let's see. I just ordered another glass case because I basically need 5 more glass. 1, 2, 3, 4 more glass cases for what I want to do, and so I just ordered another one. So now I need 3 more glass cases. Let's see. I've been watching Ultraman Decker. Got up to episode 6. Nice Star Wars fan. Greeting and welcome to Florida. Thank you, Russian Wanderer. How's the beginning of Omega to you? We've only watched the first episode since it came out at the worst time to come out. We watched the first episode and I liked what I saw. I'm intrigued. I want to see more. We have to play catch up. We also have to catch up on Gav. Obviously, we just caught up on Gojuger. We were trying to do Gav with Silver Quill through Discord, but he's too busy that we're just going to have to watch a bunch of episodes on our own. But hopefully, after his convention next week, we can do a live stream on all those episodes. So hopefully, he'll have time to watch them in that entire time span. I was just wondering, from Deny, hello. I just wanted to ask, do you do a review of Hell of a Boss Season 1, 2, like you did Ninja Turtles? If not, have you planned to review any other series? I like your Ninja Turtles review. No. And part of it's because Hell of a Boss does not have a physical release. And I don't know if that really would appeal to the people on my channel for the most part. I know I'm not solely doing reviews just to appeal to people on the channel, but I'm so busy with so many things going on right now that Hell of a Boss would just add another kink in there. And I like it, but I don't know if I like it enough to want to review it. But things could change. I could change my mind in a week for all I know. Right now, though, I am just so busy with Toku stuff. I haven't even started the next Ninja Turtles season. I'm going to do the European vacation season next. And then, based on how things are, I might continue with season 4. I have to look at the statistics or the analytics for seasons 1 to 3 to see if it's really worth doing the season sets. But since I enjoyed making the first 3 seasons, I might still continue regardless. We'll see. Oh, and I did buy the Next Mutation, so I can eventually review that. Oh my god, what was I thinking for that one? Anyway, let's see. Oh, I saw Shin Godzilla 4K in theaters the other night, and then, lo and behold, Toho announces a Shin Godzilla 4K set the next day. And I pre-ordered their Godzilla.com exclusive version that's a 4-disc set. Nick Lin says hello. Star Wars fan, what Heisei Rider series are you looking forward to if Discotek was going to start releasing them? Blade, of course. Blade or Agito or Double. Those would be my top picks. I mean, Blade is my top favorite, and they've already released Black, my second favorite, so it'd be fitting to have Blade, but Agito's my third favorite, so I wouldn't mind that either. Plus, it'd be nice to have Agito go in between Kuga and Ryuki, even though it would mess with the consistency with the packaging orientation compared to Shelf Factory. But given the Doctor Who sets don't even have consistent packaging, and even though the spines match, they have different font sizes. So I guess it wouldn't be that matter that much. It would still suck though. But I want Blade, Agito, or Double from Discotek. Will you re-review Stronger? I won't re-review Stronger, but I will probably do an updated review of, like, I'll probably add an updated version of it, update the openings and closings, since I was planning to do that for a lot of my Kamen Rider reviews next year anyway. But I probably won't go the same length I did with Wind Spectre, because and Black RX, because Stronger was recorded later with the newer equipment that I use. That's standard now that I do, so I don't see a point in re-recording everything. Although I don't have the blanket anymore to have consistency for the Blu-ray section. What are your rankings on the Reiwa Ultraman now that Arc is finished? Blazer, number 1. Zet, number 2. Arc or Taiga, I'm not sure which I like more. Probably Arc, then Taiga, then Decker, and then I guess Trigger by default is last. I will review Kikaider one day. I have the Blu-rays. It's just not at the top of my priorities right now. Any thoughts on the suit and driver for Zets? I like the suit design for the most part. I like the belt being on the side there. It makes me think, I've said this a bunch of times, but it makes me think of a Greek or Roman warrior with the way it's done. I haven't really paid attention to the trailers or anything for Zets just because it's been a crazy time. I am disappointed, though, that Takahashi was announced to be the head writer because, yeah, he's not, like, horrible, but so, perspective. You look like you're very tiny in the background.
Oh, really?
Yep. But
gigantic.
I don't have any thoughts on the Zets driver at this point in time. I still need to watch that trailer. Chris.
They have a trailer introducing the driver?
Well, they have a character trailer now for Zets because they did their press conference, I believe.
Oh.
Because that's when they announced Takahashi.
Oh, okay.
Chris says, nice shirt. Yep. That's why aliens avoid the Earth. We're the ghetto of the Milky Way. They roll up their windows when they fly by. Nick says I'm currently watching Ninja, but I was watching Ninja, but I'm currently on break. 2 packages from Mill Creek?
Yep.
Oh. Or, well, now it's the third party. I wonder if one of them is Decker. Guess I have an unboxing video to record later. Or I do it on the screen on the live stream.
You could.
Nah, I'll do the video just because so I can promote them.
Well,
All right. So you're watching Ninja and currently in a break. Sounds sensible because Ninja, everyone needs to take a break during that show. Kamen Rider 64 is here. Hello. Anthony Sark. Oops, I just lost my place. There we go. Anthony Sarkis. I've been watching some Boris Karloff films from Mill Creek Thriller from the Blu-ray set. I have not seen that set. Well, yeah, Colorado's still an awesome place. It's just very dry and expensive. It's gotten very expensive lately. What's your favorite superhero movie of the year? For me, it's Superman. I like Superman a lot, but I got to go with Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four just exceeded my expectations, especially with the slump that the MCU has been in ever since No Way Home came out. Or after No Way Home, I should say. But Superman I liked a lot, but it's not a movie I would go out of my way to rewatch. Kamen Rider 64, had an awesome time at Fan Expo last week. What Fan Expo was that? You're saying that Bluesky can't beat Twitter, but that's okay because Twitter is a cesspool of sludge. That is true. But Bluesky will not be the Twitter killer they hoped it was. You want to turn that light off?
yeah, give me a second. I have to go back out there.
I watched the first 5 episodes of Kamen Rider Den-O. I really like it. Hope you can see it one day. I have seen Den-O. I wasn't big on it, but at some point I do need to rewatch it for review. Actually, I might do that next year.
It wasn't as bad as you make it seem.
Well, at the time, it was pretty bad because of how kiddish it seemed compared to the Kamen Rider series before it.
Okay.
Nowadays, it doesn't seem so kiddish compared to what has come out since. But I've never watched all the movies or anything. Is Sky Rider still the worst Rider series after what you said? That was good. Or then after a couple episodes, just became a generic Rider show. Yes, Sky Rider is still the worst Kamen Rider series I have ever sat through.
Did you turn the air conditioning on?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
You asked that when you were out there. I said
Yeah.
no.
Oh, I thought you said yes.
No. Let's see. Octuple Canvas is here. Hey Kaiju, did you know that Ultramax is now getting a Blu-ray remaster in Japan? I did see that. Pretty cool. I'm hoping then that means Tiga Dyna Gaia, Max, or Mabius, and Nexus get proper Blu-ray remasters. I know Tiga Dyna Gaia technically already had Blu-rays in Japan, but from what I hear, the quality is pretty awful because they did an upscale remaster rather than a proper remaster. Speaking of Ninja Turtles, the original film released in theaters. Yes, we're actually going to go see it tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. And I also just pre-ordered the trilogy set that Arrow Video had announced. Max or Nexus? I prefer Nexus. Were you surprised that 2 Kamen Rider releases coming out soon? No, I was more surprised that they didn't actually announce a Metal Hero show in all their stuff last weekend. I figured they'd have stronger since they had Amazon. Well, and the way X's essay ended hinted that they were going to have Amazon for the essay on the bonus feature. So I wasn't surprised. I'm though excited because I actually will then get to finish the Showa era of Kamen Rider this year, like I wanted to, because Amazon comes out in October. So I will make that probably a Thanksgiving or Christmas review. Depends what. I might make a Kiba Ranger my Christmas review because Kaka Ranger and Old Ranger are going to be out later than I anticipated. I was originally my original goal was I would have all four re-reviews done by the end of the summer. That's not going to happen because the move kind of set everything back for Kaka Ranger for me to the point where Kaka Ranger I might have to make Kaka Ranger a Halloween month review, and Old Ranger might get knocked back until November. So Akiba Ranger I will probably do as my Christmas review this year, just because it will be too. I don't think I'll be able to get Akiba Ranger in any sooner because I really want to make Akiba Ranger the final Sentai review, obviously until Gojiger Part 2. But I'd also look forward to Blade, but I'd also like Kiva to be released by Discotek as well. I wouldn't mind Kiva, but Blade would be a full-on re-review since that was the first Kamen Rider review I ever did, and I was still playing around with the formula of how I review things. I would I will do a complete re-review of Blade if it gets a full-on official release in America. Was X a good Rider show? It was decent. There were some great aspects to X. I think X himself was a pretty boring protagonist, but I liked the concept around the villains, at least until the end. But it was a show that was all over the place. There was this interesting aspect with these two girls that were the same girl, or well, they were played by the same actress, but then that plot point is just resolved in episode 8 out of nowhere, and the way it was resolved was just dumb and felt rushed, and it was just like, okay. And then two girls come in that become part of Tachibana's entourage that just has been in every Rider series, and they were rather pointless. They didn't do anything. It just felt like the show wanted to do something new and then got afraid of doing something new. So they went back to the tried and true formula of Kamen Rider in V3, and then they went back to trying something new and got scared again and went back to a normal formula. So it's hard to say. I didn't hate the show. There were some funny moments. Like there is this one moment where the villains attack the Tachibana's cafe, which he went back to a cafe for some reason instead of the sports store that he had in the last series. And the villains mess up the cafe, and Tachibana's cleaning up. And he's like, this is getting expensive. I'm going to start billing God for their destruction of my cafe. And all of a sudden, Apollo Geist shows up and throws Tachibana a wad of money. And it's like, will this cover it? It was pretty hilarious. That was probably my favorite scene of the entire show. How's the new place so far? Good. A little bit smaller than our old place, which is kind of weird. But I think it's because we lost the garage and the stairwell, so it's a little bit smaller, not too much. So some things I had to squish a little bit together more, but it's been good. Let's see. Did I enjoy X better than the first Kamen Rider? Yes, because it was shorter. But I would say Keisuke was even more boring than Hongo. You know, see, I have a question in a long time that you have Acrylic and Silver Quill that Hasbro is making a live action film on My Little Pony was a weird choice, or sort of. I don't remember if I've heard that before. I don't know. I mean, it would truly be weird. I don't know how. Oh, wait, we did talk about that. And we're like, okay, so yeah, how's that going to work? Because obviously the horses are going to be all CGI. So can you really say it's live action? Are you planning to update your top 11 favorite Sentai series? Yes, I just don't know when. I also still want to do my opening theme songs video and villain themes. Opening theme songs, I'm debating on how I want to do it because it will get YouTube will have a copyright over that, like butter on bread. But so I'm trying to decide how I can do that one and still make it a good video. The villains song theme video should be fine if I use 7-10 seconds of footage in there. It's just the opening themes might be able to get 7 seconds, might not. Opening songs these days are weird because when I have Patreon editions I do of my reviews now, which are the full version of my review, the first version I do, and then I upload that to YouTube, see what gets not deemed, and then I make my edits based on the uncut version. And the opening and closing themes always get deemed if they're more than 7 seconds long. So in the uncut versions, I make the opening and closings usually somewhere between 10 to 15 seconds, and then I knock them down to 7 for the YouTube cut. And other footage that I use, sometimes I'll use an entire fight scene in the YouTube version, and then of course YouTube, I've got to break it down to 10 to 14 seconds. But I am still planning to do several top videos. I just don't know when. But obviously I need to do something for Sentai since there we go.
Well, didn't you talk about trying to do a video of me trying to figure out what the American?
Yeah, I want to do that too. It's a video on having Krellikai give her a title, Power Rangers title, and she has to figure out what the Sentai series is that goes with that Power Rangers title. Or that Power Rangers series. Supremo Mega! Which rival character do you dislike more? Kyosuke Kiryu from Kamen Rider Hibiki or Sasuke Uchiha from Naruto? Seeing as how I've never made it beyond like 15, 20 episodes, actually I guess that'd be Sasuke. I hate Sasuke more from Naruto. Favorite Yakuza game? Yakuza 2. Ricardo says, hello, Kurelika.
Hello.
Oh, Kurelika is back there. I didn't even see her.
That's because I was out exercising. Actually, no. Not exercising. Being drenched in sweat.
Being drenched in sweat. Because, yep, humidity is a walking shower.
But it's okay.
You need to re-review Ultraman since it's the 60th anniversary next year. I am planning to do a re-review after the 4K comes out. I actually was already planning on re-reviewing Ultraman Ultra 7 next year. And then when Mill Creek announced they'll be doing the 4K version, it's like, okay, that makes it easier. Your favorite rival characters? Favorite rival characters?
Rival means like secondaries?
No, rivals like characters that are like the direct rival. Like basically what Fire Candle and Goju Wolf are in Gojuger.
Well, Heart is like that for Drive.
Yes, but let's see. My favorites, we'd have, they're obviously Shadow Moon and Black. Blade and Chalice, Juzo and Takaru for Shinkenger, Jin and Ryo for Die Ranger, um, Doniro and Yuri for Time Ranger. For Dom Brothers, it's Sonoi and Momotaro. Let's see. Ryuki, it's Oja and everyone. Um, Mad Gallant and Juspion. Well, Helen and oh my god, Spielbahn. Actually, I did like the rivalry between Jan Person and oh crap. Now his name's suddenly escaping me. Bill Goldie. Even though Jan Person wasn't the greatest series, I did like that rivalry. And then Garo and Jinga and Jinga and his wife against Rian and oh my god, the other Garo. Is Ryoma the one with Rian? Yeah, Ryoma. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking Ryoma was somebody else. All right. Unboxing night. Unbox it now. Maybe. The Impactors from Grand Caesar or the Ayakashi from Shinkenger? Well, the Impactors from Grand Caesar had more character development, but the Ayakashi were more interesting villains. So I'm going to go with the Ayakashi. Shinkenger or Geki Ranger? Geki Ranger. Looking forward to Ranger Stop? Yes. In fact, I actually have to check on what we actually did. I think we just did Hotel Room. So I have to look at other stuff for what I need to do for that convention. Favorite Sentai, Rider, and Ultra Suits. Sentai, favorite suits, probably Time Ranger, because I love the colored visors. Rider. I do love black suit, but I actually think I might like double the best for suits. And ultra suits, Seven, Blazer, and Tiga, I'm going to go with. Those would be my favorites. Some of my other favorites for Sentai outside of Time Ranger, obviously Die Ranger, Maskman suits, Don Brothers suits are pretty cool. Maybe Hurricangers, because I like the netting on the Hurricanger suits. Just rewatched the Raimi trilogy. The writing of the romance between Peter and MJ and Spider-Man 2 and 3 isn't that great. People dunk on Raimi's MJ, but Raimi Peter isn't better. It depends. MJ is the worst thing of those Raimi movies. That Dunst was not a good fit for MJ, and she gets more unlikable in each movie. Let's see. Okay, message retracted. Krillika might like Sugio Expo next month. It sounds like it might be an anime convention here in Florida. Jan Person or Winspector? I'm going to go with Winspector. Jan Person had a lot of great stuff, but I prefer Winspector between those two. The actor who played Boken Black for Bokenger announced that a Bokenger anniversary special is in the works. Okay. Huh. Sure, why not? Oh, and speaking of Metal Heroes, I'd like Discotech to release the Beef-Fighter duology. I would too, but at this point, I want Discotech to release all the series I haven't reviewed. As much as I want Spielbahn, I would rather them do the series from the 90s first, since I haven't touched those ones for reviews yet. And then I can review those from actual releases, and then they can backtrack. On your X-Men read, since you are on X Factor. Oh, I'm done with the X-Men read. Do you feel Louise Simonson had done an okay job salvaging Cyclops? Maybe, but at that point, by the time she took over X Factor, because I finished all the X-Men. The moment I've read the last arc with Shadow King, and the story, and when to me, X-Men ends when Professor X asks, "What am I going to do with 16 X-Men?" That to me is the end of the series. So that's where I stopped reading. But I mean, she did fine with Cyclops, but by that point, I just didn't care for Cyclops. He was totally gone for me. So yeah, she did the best she could with what she had to work with, but at that point, I didn't care about Cyclops. Frankly, I think he should have died with Mr. Sinister and Madeline. All right, for Toku series, I'm only Ultra still on the Showa era because I finished the last Metal Hero series in the Showa era this year, for Sentai 2 years ago, and Kamen Rider also 2 years ago. Nice. Since you dislike Skyrider a lot, have you softened on Black RX? Yes, you should actually check out my updated review of Black RX I did several months ago. I actually enjoyed the show a lot more, and I think not comparing it to Black all the time when I was watching it helped. I also think having that 2-year gap between between watching the Blu-ray sets helped, because every time I had watched RX previously, I watched it directly after Black. This was the first time I watched RX on its own, not on Black. If you had an idea for an adaptation of Kiba Ranger for Power Ranger series for 18 years, because the show is only for people who are perverts. I wouldn't say it's only for people who are perverts. It's just for a more mature audience. I know. If I were to adapt a Kiba Ranger, it would be I would adapt it as a tokusatsu ga type series. It will be about a group who loves tokusatsu and ends up becoming Akiba Rangers. or they're big Power Rangers fans, and they end up becoming the Akiba Rangers. Even though they were shot in video Russian, you can still do something, I think. I mean, there have been some. Doctor Who has done a solid job with their Blu-ray remasters, even for the one shot on video, the sequences. It's not going to be full on like the amazing thing of film, but Doctor Who has shown how to do it. Come on. Oh, great. I just lost the place. Here we go. Also, it looks like Kabuto is going to get an anniversary special as well. There have been some photos leaked of the cast getting together. I just hope they don't do it dirty like I've heard they did with the Fives reunion. Because I heard they did that and O's horribly. I have not seen them, but I heard they did them dirty. Thoughts on Ryder X's dad? Oh, yeah, I meant to say that though. Keisuke is such a whiny little bitch that at the beginning of Ryder of X, his dad dies, leaves him in the care of a base that an AI version of him controls, and he says, "You can come here whenever you need help." Then in episode 2, Casey comes in there and is crying, and the AI dad says, "You have come here way too many times. I'm self-destructing this base because you're relying on me too much." And boom. I was like, damn. Keisuke's so whiny that even the AI decides he doesn't want anything to do with him. And that's definitely Boomer's got a boom. Obviously, he's older than a boomer, though, but still. Besides Kyosuke, what are the other issues with Hibiki's second half in your view? Just the complete change in production values. Because the cinematography was gone, the fights in the forest were gone, and there was still no actual ending to the show. They never actually answered any questions. They just raised more questions. Ricardo, do you just like comedy Toku? You always criticize it in your reviews. No, it's just comedy's not my top thing. And it just depends. Like Car Ranger I love, and that's comedy. Akiba Ranger I loved, and that's comedy. But other things, it just depends. If the show is very serious and the comedy feels out of place, it doesn't work for me. Like Kamen Rider Blade, for example. The show is all serious except for those 2 episodes that have the 2 Hajimes, and it's just very, very silly. And it's out of left field. It doesn't fit with the tone of the rest of the show, especially since the next episode is the introduction to the artificial undead plot. So, which is very super serious. So those 2 episodes just don't fit with the tone of the show. So mostly it's not specifically comedy Toku itself I don't like. It's when the comedy is completely clashes with the tone of the rest of the series. Like comedy bits, like take comedy bits in Die Ranger. It's a very serious show, but there are comedy bits that work within the tone because it balances. Same with Kaku Ranger. But that Hajime 2-parter in Blade does not fit. It just completely comes out of left field. I said that already. Yeah. If Starfish Hitler became much more popular in Toku, he will be the most Nazi-esque Toku ever. You know, it was funny. I finally saw that episode, and it wasn't even that good of an episode. I feel like it's just because it's Hitler that's the notoriety. I'm currently streaming Kamen Rider X on Discord with my friends, and we're on episode 30. Ooh, 30. That's where stuff started to get really weird with King Dark. I won't go into any more details. Are you looking forward to Garo Taiga in October? No, because it's in theaters, right? So it won't be something that we would see in America for fan sub for at least half a year, correct? A My Little Pony live action movie, that sounds like a really shitty idea for Hasbro. Yeah, but Hasbro has been really cranking up shitty ideas lately. What tokusatsu show that you've been getting requests a lot? Well, Kaider, Akiba Ranger, um, mm, what's the other one? There was one other. Akiba Ranger. Oh, Beefighter. Duh. We had Barbie back in 2023. We got Masters of the Universe coming in 2026, and a Hot Wheels movie in development. What other Mattel property should get a movie adapted next? None. No. Something very, very stupid. You also forgot there was Monster High. Um, Something very, very stupid. Oh, I want. How about? Well, wait. I'm trying to think what board games are Mattel. Or are there any board? Or does Mattel not do board games? Oh, I don't know. I can't think of something from Mattel that'd be very, very stupid. That would be like the dumbest thing ever. I was like, does Mattel own Connect Four? Because you could have the Connect Four, but it's a whole story about defusing bombs. But the bombs have to go in like four in a row to be disarmed. Did you meet Ryota Ozawa at Power Morphicon last year? Ozawa is Gokai Red, right? What game are you guys playing?
Turtles.
So not when you were guessing.
Let's see how awake I am after a while.
Yeah, wake up. It's 12:18. Anyway, yes, got to meet Ozawa. He was pretty cool. Obviously, you can't really have a conversation with the Japanese guest because of the language barrier, but it was still pretty cool. Since next Sentai rumor is a Magic Academy, you think it'll be a sequel to Maji Ranger or do a new one? Actually, I was mentioning that we were talking about that last week for our Gojuger stream because somebody brought up it's a Magic Academy rumor. I'm like, oh, is it going to be a sequel to Ninja and feature Maji Yellow as a teacher and the one Ninja coming in there? All I know is I really want Sentai to go back to being standalone series, no more crossover stuff. So if that is true, I hope it's not a sequel to anything, just a new one. Are you going to do versus AI? No, we actually dropped the versus AI videos because nobody was really watching them. And as cool and easy as they were to make, it just wasn't worth it when 10, 15 people might have watched them. So we kind of just dropped that series just because nobody cared about it, or very little people cared about it. I am going to still do Let's Talk. I just haven't had motivation to talk about it. Like, I have ideas for Let's Talks. It's just I haven't had the motivation to record them lately. But I want to do a toxicity on the toxicity in social media, separating art from artists, and then there was another one. There was another one I was going to do, and now I'm forgetting what it was. But the versus AI just isn't something we're going to do anymore. Or if we do it, it might be occasionally. But yeah, nobody was watching them. So I was like, well, why spend the time recording these and then editing them and rendering them if nobody's even going to watch them? So the original Ultra series is coming to 4K. Yep, Mill Creek announced that July next year will be Ultraman, and I think September of next year will be Ultra 7. Since you're going to review Men in 7, you have to re-review 7. No, I don't. I don't have to re-review 7X at all. I am not touching 7X again. Like, I will probably do an updated credit sequence, but I am not touching 7X again. Favorite Toku YouTubers. Favorite Toku YouTubers. Midwest is pretty cool. Toku Time, I like. I met them both at Power Morphicon. They seem pretty cool there. Ranger Cast, although I haven't watched them in a while. I don't think they've done anything in a while, though. Estes, although I haven't watched. Well, I haven't watched most people on YouTube in a while, just because getting ready for the move and everything over the last several months was so crazy. I didn't really watch anyone. Like, I caught Midwest's streams for Go Ranger for the first 2 or 3, but then I never caught any of the ones after that, which is a shame because it seemed pretty fun. Let's see. Who's the other one that I like? Easy Rider. That's the Toku Time guy. Easy Rider. He's pretty cool. What was it? Who's the other guy? Oh my god. My brain's not working right now. Let's see. No, actually I can't do that right now. All right. I'm trying to think of who the other one is, but dang it. Little Karibo's been doing some Toku stuff too, which I've watched. But who was the other guy? Why is my brain not? Oh well, whatever. I'll figure it out. Let's see, where are we? Gundam Seed or Gundam Wing? Gundam Seed. Just the first seed over Gundam Wing. Indigo Uchiha, welcome. Indigo. Let's see. When I reviewed Mobile Cop G-Bun, I did mention your Metal Heroes panel for my first review of the series. Nice. Samurai or Megaforce? Samurai. I actually don't get the hate on Samurai. Yeah, it copied a lot of Shinkenger, but I don't get the hate for Samurai. I really don't. It was a solid series for the most part. I liked that they actually committed to the green and yellow relationship for the Rangers compared to Shinkenger, which was all, yeah, they're in a they like each other, but we're not going to really show them in a relationship. And I did like the original plot they made for Juzo and Dio. So I don't really get the hate on Samurai. Megaforce, I could only make it through like 2 episodes, and then I watched like the finale for Super Megaforce. So that I totally just the hate is totally justified. But Samurai, I don't get it. Have you heard that Marvel is to do another cast announcement for Avengers Doomsday? I have. Um, I'm just I'm confused on why there's all these things going on with Doomsday when it should be Secret Wars that's supposed to be doing this. Doomsday should just be about Doctor Doom, but sure, why not? How are you feeling about Michael Bay returning to the Transformers franchise? Wait, what? For Metal Heroes, I currently have 7 series to watch and review. The last two I'm not going to watch or review because they are not interesting to me. Um, I will. I actually do want to watch Robo Talk and Kabu Talk out of sheer curiosity more than anything else, but they will most likely be the last Metal Hero series I review unless Discotech brings them out before then. I'm just. I will watch them at some point. Why do I keep losing my spot? Every time. There we go. What is the best decade of music? I don't really think there is a best decade for music. Every decade has its amazing pieces, and every decade has its pieces of shit. So, I mean, I could go on the bias aspect and say, well, the 90s is the best because that's what I grew up with. That's when Metallica were at their prime. Nine Inch Nails was at their prime. KMFDM, um, Juno Reactor. But then 2000s, you had Daft Punk, you had Android Lust, Angel Spit. And then, and the 80s, there's a lot of great stuff in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. So I really, because like Earth, Wind, and Fire, what you call it, Depeche Mode. So I can't say there is one decade that is the best for music. Everything has great stuff. Now, will I say that a lot of music today appeals to me as much as older music? Older music? No. But every decade's got great stuff and bad stuff. And there are things in every decade that are highly praised songs, and I'm just like, why? For example, the 90s had Google Dolls' Iris. I hate that song. Not necessarily because it's a bad song, but the radio played that song so much in Buffalo because Google Dolls were from Buffalo that you couldn't go 15 minutes without hearing that song. Be it the radio, MTV, VH1, just every 15 minutes that song was playing somewhere. And I think it is one of the worst songs I've ever listened to because of that. Even though it has some good stuff in it. There's some songs that from the 2000s, I'm just like, what the fuck? There's stuff from the 80s. There's stuff from more recent. I'm just like, what the hell are you? What? So there is no truly best decade for music. It's more of which decade you prefer. I will say that the 80s, because of Grand Theft Auto, and then the 90s, because that's what I grew up on, would be my favorites, but that doesn't make them the best. What Sentai had the best comedy and which one had the worst? The best comedy would be Car Ranger. The worst, the comedy in. mm, I mean, I don't want to say Go Onger because that show was meant to be partially comedic. I'm going to say Q Ranger or Lupot. Lupot's comedy really missed more than it stuck, especially the gender bent episode. Ugh, I'm going to say Lupot had the worst comedy. Car Ranger had the best, and then Akiba Ranger had the best too. Have you heard the Toei's Kaizatsu Zubat and Choku Senshi Chain Run are getting an HD remaster in Japan at least? I have, because they did a poll recently, and we're going to take the 3 top voted series and give them remasters. I don't know what the third series was. I also don't understand why people voted for Chingirian when that was shot on videotape and not film. So that one, Toei only does upscales for video. Like I said though, Doctor Who has shown you can do video properly in remaster, but I don't know why they voted for Chingirian when it couldn't get a true HD remaster. I personally was hoping for Spielban, and then oh god, the Magical Girl one, because I saw pictures of it in, yeah, this one. I don't know anything about this series right here. I never even knew it existed until I got this book. So that was on that list. So I was like, oh, that would be kind of cool. And the other one that was on there, let's see. What was the other one? Let's see, where's the other one? They were like missile looking robots. Let's see, where is it? It had to be from the 80s. I also don't know what this series is, actually. Don't know what that one is. I don't know what this one is. But where is it? This one looks kind of interesting. I think that's gay, no something or other. That's by Crosser. I don't even want to know what this thing is about. Where is it? That's Machine Man. That's some creepy little thing. No, it wasn't you. I could have sworn. Maybe it was just from the pictures I saw of the. Maybe it was a 70s series, and I'm just thinking it was from this book. When it was actually. Huh. Let me just do one more look. Don't know. Is that a Bolton? For that one right there. Looks like a Bolton in there. Oh, it is a Bolton, but I don't know. Huh. Okay, I can't find the other one I would have voted for. I think it might have been actually a 70s series, and I was like, that one would be kind of interesting for them to vote for because I've never heard of that series before. Actually, put this back over here. Ooh, shit. Ooh, how did those get messed up? Ooh, I'm gonna have to actually fix this before I put this back on there, aren't I? Okay, anyway. Let's see. Which Metal Hero show are you looking for? Oh, wait, did I miss some? Oh, yeah, I did. Which Metal Hero show are you looking for from Discotheque? Well, as I said, any of them that I haven't reviewed yet. And then obviously Spielbahn. Fantastic Four was so good. Ever going to review Beef Fighter Kabuto? Like I said, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see. I'm basically anything Metal Heroes now. I'm waiting on Discotheque. So until I know if Discotheque is like, yeah, we're not doing any more Metal Hero series, I'm not going to touch it. I sent you a DM on Bluesky. Awesome. I will check it out later. What were your favorite episodes from the Reiwa Ultras? At least the ones you remember. My favorite episodes from Reiwa Ultra. Let's see. Now my brain's trying to think about what the Reiwa episodes were. I liked from Zet and Blazer. Because I will say the one problem when you watch all these shows, they start to blend in after a while. Well, I liked the Zangil episodes of Arc and Blazer. Oh my god. What was that horror episode of Blazer I really liked? I like the cameraman episode of Zet. That's meant to be the Ultra Q. Oh, Blazer. Duh. The Ultra Q one with the Garuma and the guys playing the music and everything. That was damn awesome. For Ultraman Arc, I also liked the one with the guy with the hat with the missing the face mask or the missing face, whatever it was. It was like an apple coming out of his face. That was a good damn creepy episode. Actually, I could say a lot of episodes from Blazer, really. But the Ultra Q one, that was fantastic. Yeah, Zen and Blazer had really good episodes tributes to Ultra Q. And there was the other one was that, but now I can't remember it. But so yeah, those would be my favorites right now. Do you think we'll get Tokusatsu Gaga? Yes, I think Gaga needs a season 2. Just because there's more manga material to adapt. In your X-Men read, what was your favorite event? Massacre, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno? I would say Fall of the Mutants was probably the weakest of the events. My favorite is probably Inferno, followed by Extinction Agenda, then Mutant Massacre with Fall of the Mutants. That would probably be my ranking. Because Extinction Agenda I liked a lot. Fall of the Mutants for me is the weakest because it felt disjointed, given that none of the plots really tie into each other, because Fall of the Mutants is just the X-Men fighting Mr. Sinister and the Marauders. The New Mutants plot is the not Island of Dr. Moreau, and the X Factor story with Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen is pretty cool, is probably my favorite of the 3 stories, but it didn't really have an impact on the rest of the crossovers. So I like when the crossovers all or it didn't have like the true crossover feel. It was just the events happened, but they were self-contained events. If you're going to do the events, I like it when all the series were combined. Although after a while that does get tiresome when it's all crossover event after crossover event because after Infernal they did get ridiculous with it because you had Infernal, Extinction Agenda, and then I believe after that you had Bishop's Crossing, then Executioner Song, then there was Phalanx Project or something like that, and then there was another one, and so after that, at that point, it got too much. But which is weird because Executioner Song was the first crossover I ever read for the X books, so it has a special place for me. But at the same time, it's past where I consider this franchise done. All right. Ever heard of Kampe Senshi After V? That's the one where it's about the team getting drinks after battles, right? I have heard of it, if that's the one, but I've never seen it. Your favorite Showa writer suit? Black. Black is favorite suit. I do like Skyrider's suit. As much as that show sucks, I do like the first Skyrider suit. And I kind of like Stronger's. Although, well, no, kind of. I mean, I like the design of Stronger. I just don't like how big it is. Do you think all these years Tokusatsu got? Oh wait, I already read that one. Where am I? V3 is your favorite Ricardo. That's cool. I have some mixed thoughts on V3. I liked it more seeing it in action than when I would just see pictures of it. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of the helmet. Zed Cross for you, Chris. Zed Cross's costume is really weird for me. You look like Two-Face with that hairstyle. Insert name. Okay. Supreme Omega. Since you finished the classic Claremont X-Men run, what are your pros and criticisms overall? Well, pros is that he always changed status quo. There was no set status quo, which I was surprised at because the 90s had a status quo and that they stuck to that for many, 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 many years. I think because of the cartoon. But so I was surprised at how much the team always changed. The dynamic always changed. The villains changed. Magneto went from villain to anti-hero to hero back to anti-hero. He had many layers. I just loved all the character development that occurred. So I would say the criticisms are that sometimes when they did change the dynamic, you weren't ready for it. A criticism I also have is for how I've heard people nonstop praise the Outback era for years for X-Men, and now having read it, I don't think it was the masterpiece people make it out to be. I liked it, but I don't feel like it lived up to its potential. I also feel like Claremont didn't really know what to do with the Reavers. He introduced this new team and then never really got to finish them. And there were a couple of lows throughout the run. I will say after the Brood Saga, well, I guess after Madeline and Cyclops' wedding, there was a bit of dip in quality for a bit. There was this really weird story arc where a magician changed New York City to a fantasy world. That one didn't work for me. That would probably be my least favorite story from the Claremont run. New Mutants took a hit when after Inferno. I don't know what happened with New Mutants, but well, Rob Liefeld happened. That's what. But New Mutants really took a dip in quality uh, after Magic stayed not Magic after Magic was reverted back to a little girl in Inferno, but after oh my god, Karma had just disappeared. What's her name? Mirage. After Mirage decided to stay in Asgard, and the team then was Sunspot, Cannonball, Wolfsbane, and um, Richter and Boom Boom joined. It got a bit weird there, especially after. Uh, I don't know. New Mutants got really awkward, and by the end, I was just glad the series was done. Yeah, it becomes X Factor, but whatever. Um, did I miss another one? Did you hear that spring of 2026, Rumiko Takahashi's current manga Mao is getting an anime? I did not because I don't actually pay attention to Takahashi at all. Would the other one be Armor Hero? I don't remember. I think the characters looked like they were like missiles or something. Maybe. A live action My Little Pony doesn't sound too bad actually if done right. I mean, look at the Sonic movies. Yeah, maybe. Yes. Well, I don't have Hokkaido, but yes, I do have Cutie Honey the Live and Gridman and Hokkaido and um, Hurricane Polymer and the Star Wars ripoff one, Message from Space. I have not watched the Tomika Hero Rescue series at all. I'm not excited for Zets because of the writer. Legend Hero of the Three Kingdoms. I have heard of it. I've never seen it. When do you think you'll cover Daimajin and the Yokai Monster films? Well, I reviewed Yokai number 3 many, many years ago. So I think at some point I will just redo it a lot when I do the Yokai Monsters, but I don't know when I'll get to them. I also am going to try to do Calamari Wrestler this year because I want to say his name was G-Vamp on the message board I was on, who sent me Death Kappa and Calamari Wrestler. And I've had Calamari Wrestler sitting on the shelf for a decade now to be reviewed. So I probably should tackle that sometime this year as well. And I do have the Sukaben Deka movies that were sent to me for review. And Garuda, The Seven Voyages of Sinbad. What else was sent to me for review or given to me for review? There was another movie. I don't remember what the other one was. But I know I have a bunch. And I have the Toku Shout movie sets that I only did Golden Bat with. So I've got enough to keep me occupied for a while. In fact, I probably have enough that I don't have to tackle fan sub material, but I really do want to knock out Garo and Kamen Rider. So yeah. Where was I? Do you think things in the past should stay in the past? What do you mean? Not sure what that exactly means. On your X-Men read, what are your thoughts with the 90s image guys start to appear like Lee Claremont and Uncanny, Rob Liefeld working with Louise Simon? Well, as I just said, Rob Liefeld ruined New Mutants for me. It just became a mess when he took over. Um, and the art got inconsistent. The art was very inconsistent at the end there. Like I praise Extinction Agenda for its story, but the art just had no consistency across the crossovers at all. Jim Lee, he was fine for X-Men. I liked the last arc with Shadow King. I thought it was fitting having Shadow King be the end of the Claremont run since Shadow King was introduced towards the beginning of the Claremont run. Kiba Ranger called it Power Rangers, probably been called Power Rangers Anime Force or Legion of Geeks. Why do you review Sentai Versus movies since you dislike them? Because they're part of the series. So I'm still going to include them since I like to include everything. For some reason, I thought Boomonger versus King Oger had come out, but I can't find fan subs of it. Great ideas on Let's Talk. What kind of hairstyle is that? I can't tell. My barber got the exact cut like yours. How can I tell my barber to get the exact cut like? I have no idea. The getting into hairy situations only half the time, or only having half of a bad hair day, or a bad hair half day. Sure, we'll go. Let me just go with that. You have to you have the whole Ultraman resume you did for next year. Yes, I will. So next year, I will end up tackling Trigger, Decker, and Arc, and then I need to do the anime. And I've actually been burnt out on Ultraman right now, though. Do you like the Transformers anime? Depends on which anime you're referring to. Dora, 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 Ben Dora. God, that song should have been in Mighty Morphin. And I just lost my place. I hate when YouTube just like you're scrolling and it jumps to the bottom of the thing. So then you have to find where it was. Should have been in Mighty Morphin is so silly, but it's great for opening. Well, not really. Oil up. Not sure what that means. What made you want to be a forever passenger? I just don't like driving. I don't feel I have actually control of the car when I'm turning the steering wheel. Yudis Konhikido. Hi, I just got home from work. Glad to see you live out of my usual schedule. Dunce's MJ or Flay? Ooh, Flay Alistair. Well, MJ wasn't a racist bitch, so we'll go with MJ. For Samurai, the acting was bad and the characters were dull. Yeah, but that's just Power Rangers in general for bad acting, so. And the characters, I don't think some of them were any duller than the Shinkinger versions. I agree. I think the hate is too harsh, though. I mean, oh, I did pick up. I did get. Actually, they're not over here. I forgot. I put them away. I did get at at the local library in Colorado before we moved. I got both seasons of Dino Charge on DVD for free. They were in so the library in Colorado. I don't know if other libraries do this, but they have this thing called second chance items, where they're DVDs, books, whatever that are pulled out of circulation for the library, and they sell them on the cheap. Well, they had Dino Charge and Super Dino Charge's DVD set We open the librarian opens the case up, and disc 3 is missing from Dino Charge season 1. So he's like, "Well, I can't really sell you this with the disc missing. So here, you can have that for free." And then we open Super Dino Charge up, and all 4 discs are there, but they look like crap. And there was a Mighty Morphin season 2, I think, disc in the case as well. He's like, "You know what? These discs are so bad looking. Here, you can have that one for free too." So I was like, "Oh, cool. I just got Power Rangers Dino Charge for free. Yeah, I'm missing disc 3, but whatever. As long as I don't when I eventually review it, as long as that's not doesn't have the episodes that are my favorite, because I'll just watch those 4 or 5 episodes on Netflix or something. It won't matter that much. Of course, watch. There will be one episode. The one episode from that missing disc will be like my favorite of the entire series. But yeah, so got them for free. Can't complain. Have you read any Superman comics? What are your favorite stories? I have. Well, I obviously like the stuff Jack Kirby did with him in the Fourth World storyline with all the new gods. But I also like Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which was the basically a series finale for Silver Age Superman. I like that they gave Superman a definitive ending. And I like For All Seasons. That one's was a good tale as well. And then what else? What else have I done liked with Superman? Well, I actually did like the J. Michael Straczynski run of Superman from what 10 years ago, or no, it had to be longer because it was before the New 52. But I actually liked the Straczynski story arc he was doing with Superman that everybody seemed to hate. Now, some people are like, well, they did the story before. Well, cool. I've actually never read the story before that did that. So to me, this is brand new. But yeah, I'd say Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow is probably my favorite Superman story. Switch Kabutak and Robotak to Machine Man and Bycrosser. I've got both of those fans subbed, so at some point I will probably watch those as well to review. If you have a better idea for adapting Super Mega Force and Mega Force, what will it be? Not to? I don't know. I would do the exact opposite of what they did. Favorite music. Industrial, electronic, and classical are my top favorite genres. Like some of my favorite bands are Nine Inch Nails. Well, Weird Al. Weird Al's awesome. KMFDM, Rammstein, Angel Spit, old school Metallica, Rob Zombie, White Zombie. I did like some of the earlier Offspring stuff. Daft Punk. Let's see. We'll go with them for right now. On the original 1971 Kamen Rider show, did it need to have 88 or 98 episodes? No, but at the same time, it was the first, so they probably just weren't thinking. Because it was going to go on for I was going to have a third season, and then they decided to revamp it into V3. I highly doubt Discotek will release Kabutak and Robot since those series didn't do too well. You never know. It is still technically part of Metal Heroes. I mean, yeah, I would be surprised, so I might eventually have to tackle reviews through Raws, but you never know. Yes, Shinjiran has the Kamen Rider Oja actor. Maybe it's because of that. It's possible. I was surprised by Neo Saban to not adapt the whole chicken thing that Hiromi had for all the series into Beast Morphers to Devon cut. Do you mean Hasbro? Because Saban did not do Beast Morphers. Mago Shoujo Tuka no Ipanuma is the name of the Magical Girl series. Okay. That's Cybercops. 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 Let's see. Where are you? Wait, which one was the Nippon and Cybercops? Cybercops. Cybercops. Cyber. Oh yeah, Cybercops. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Ipanema was the sequel to Maho Shoujo Chunka no Pai Pai. Pai Pai, yes, that's what it was called. Pai Pai. The one with the armor and girls. The 80s series are part of another franchise called Toei Fushigi Comedy Series that aired on Fuji TV. That was Cyber Cop. It was made by Toho in 1988. Most of the Toei Fushigi Comedy Series were written by the same guy who did Car Ranger. Yes, I remember that. About Toku voting contest, they had 5 winners to come in 3 or 2 batches. Zubat and Change Room were the first 2. The last 3 are yet to be announced. Zubat is a 70s show. Yep. The only comedy show I actually like was Marangumi Suki Suki Maho Sensei and recently Robocan. Name, surname. Great name. Do you think -2 could end up falling short of -1 and even possibly be a bad film? Do you think a Shin Godzilla sequel would work without Ano? Um, I mean, any sequel has the possibility of falling short compared to its predecessor. That is just the nature of filmmaking. I don't care if -2 ends up being not as good as -1. I just want -2 to still be good, which I think it will be. I don't think it will be better than -1, but I think it will still be great overall written. Shin Godzilla 2, I don't think none of the Shin stuff would work without Ano because it's Shin is his vision. Suki Suki Maho Sensei is not Fushigi comedy, is actually from 71, at the same of the original Kamen Rider. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, really? I barely forgot that was a Fushigi show. Well, sorry about that. Okay, let's. It's too bad we didn't get a 90s Godzilla anime film or series written and directed by the likes of Mamoru Oshii or my personal favorite Chiaki Konaka. Um, I don't see the problem is I don't want Godzilla as anime. It's like I don't want Power Rangers as an animation. They work because they're live action. That's what makes them stand out. If they were anime, they have millions of competitors that have done the same thing and usually better. Like that Godzilla anime from a decade ago. No, just keep Godzilla out of anime. I don't. And Angel's Egg or Blue Gender, yeah, no, 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 no. I don't want. No, just no. Could we see more 4K remasters of Ultraman and Kamen Rider? Um, from what I heard, Subaraya is not interested in giving 4K remasters to any other series. that could obviously change. If who knows if sales for Man and Seven are and Q are astronomical, that could change. Maybe they would consider doing Return of Ultraman as a 4K, which would also give Mill Creek a second chance to fix that um, the messed up subs. But I don't see it. And Toei, I'd rather Toei start focusing on giving 1080p remaster HD remasters to Sentai at this point over doing 4K. Have you read the Kamen Rider manga Ishinomori did? I have not. I own it, but I have not actually read it yet. Do you think Metal Heroes should come back? Yes, maybe, but yes, but I think what they need to do is have it only a half-year show. Turn Sentai into a half-year show. Metal Heroes the other half. So it goes Sentai Metal Heroes, Sentai Metal Heroes. I really wish they would have done a 90s OVA for Parasite Eve instead of that live-action film they made. I read the original book, played the first 2 games. Well, obviously the movie was based on the book, but I would totally be down for, well, a new adaptation of the book that's accurate to the book, and I would totally be down for an adaptation of the video game. What is the forgotten Megazord of all time? I forgot. Have you seen the Amazing Digital Circus? It's really good. I've never even heard of it before. On Louis Simon's X Factor, you have to admit she did good stuff like Apocalypse and Angel becoming Archangel. Oh, I did love the Archangel stuff. She had to inherit the mess of Jean being revived and Scott ditching Maddie and his son. Yes, I did love the Archangel storyline. And it just did my jump again. Ah, cool. Not too far though. Denno or Gal Ranger? Probably Gal Ranger. I liked Shin Cutie Honey the best of anything with Shin placed in front of it back when anime was more edgy and wasn't watered down like it is now. I watched the first 3 Garo films and the first 2 seasons was pretty good. It seems the writer had a thing for giant naked women. While it also helped that the series was for adults and aired late, so that was his way of justifying it. Do you think Trigger is still the most triggering Toku of all? No. How can you describe Kamen Rider Denno in one word? Mediocre. I meant re-reviewing your previous Ultraman resume. No, I am not re-reviewing anything but the first 2 series. Favorite female character trio? Can you cook? Depends on what it is. What is the most racist Toku you ever watched? I don't know because I don't think Toku, the racism that they do is truly intentional. So I can't say. Favorite female character trio. Can you elaborate more on what you mean by that? I'm not sure, 64. I need to think. I also have some questions that haven't popped up that I've been waiting to answer. So one revolved around Goosebumps. So if I don't see their question pop up soon, I will just answer that. And another one asked about things I like about Sentai. But okay. On Claremont's run, is the Burn era the best of the run? Because it gets so much attention, Days of Future Past and Dark Phoenix Saga. Because to me, there are still good stuff after Burn leaves. Well, okay. My favorite X-Men team is the team of Wolverine, Cyclops, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Phoenix, Banshee, and Storm. I don't know how I forgot Storm. She's my favorite X-Men. So all the stuff that it leads up to the Dark Phoenix Saga is incredible. Dark Phoenix Saga, amazing. Days of Future Past, despite only being two, it's funny. I never knew until like 10 years ago that Days of Future Past was only 2 issues. I thought it was like this really big, epic, long arc, but no, it was only 2 issues. I'm just like, oh, that's it, okay. But the writing in there was so well done. I'm like, man, if that was today, that would be a 6-issue arc and have lots of crossovers. But there is still a lot of great stuff after that. There's the Brood Saga. I love the Brood Saga. Like I said, I love the Shadow King arc that was in the finale. The Outback stuff, even though I don't think it lived up to the hype, it did have a lot of good things to it. There were some things that I don't like. Turning Storm into a child was a bit weird. Well, turning the X-Men into children entirely was a bit weird. And Storm especially becoming a child was just whatever. But there were a lot of good things in there that happened. So I think the Claremont run as a whole was phenomenal and is the best comic book run ever. His entire 15 years was great. Not every little section was perfect, but everything, I would say the first 175 issues were near perfect. Or not first 175, but basically from what he did up to issue 175, nearly perfect. No complaints. Then we get into some dodgy stuff. I don't like the way they handled Rachel because it was weird how Spyro could teleport. The Spyro thing got weird. Life Death was a good story arc, even though there were some weird things like aliens just randomly appear out of nowhere in one of the Life Death stories. But the whole thing is great. Ranger or Kaku Ranger? Kaku Ranger. Why do you think Ranger is the greatest Toku ever to this day? I go over it in my recent review. It's just all the storytelling, the characters, all the plot threads going on, the symbolism, the fights, the costumes, the mecha. It's just everything hits the right notes. The most racist Toku of time was Rainbow Man. The villains were the Shine clan, who were trying to Japan for what they did to them in the war. Okay, I don't know how. Well, I don't know Rainbow Man, so I don't know how the racism plays in that. Where's your opinion on Go-Juger now? Since what? But Go-Juger, I think, is, to quote my review, an unfocused mess of incoherency. That is Go-Juger. The Shine Don theme is one of the most racist songs of all time, with phrases that I probably can't write here. I'll have to check it out at some point. On Claremont One, what are your favorite artists on that run? Well, besides Burning Cockrum, Um, Bashima, was that his name? Bashima. He's the one that was on there, right? I think so. Um, I don't remember every artist for it. I want to say Sel Bashima was the one I'm thinking of. He was good. Um, no, that's Spider Man. Don't get me wrong, Jim Lee is fantastic as well. But I'm just gonna go with those. Byrne, Cockrum, Bashima, Lee. I know there is one other. I just can't think of it right now. Do you have any music albums? Do I have any music albums like CDs? I mean, yeah. Favorite role of Soga? Probably Bandora. Do you think Toho will do more Toku shows like what they did with Zone Fighter, Green Man, God Man, Megalo Man, Rainbow Man, Diamond Eye, and Guy Freed and Cyber Cop? Um, Maybe. I just don't know if they really see it worth it right now. Is minus one still the best Godzilla movie of the 2020s? I mean, there's not really much to choose from, so yes. What's worse, Ezra Miller or the Paul brothers? You know, I absolutely hate the Paul brothers. I think they are pieces of shit. But playing with a dead body just pales in comparison to kidnapping, assaulting a woman in a bar, sending kids to a gun-ridden farm. So Miller, Gel Shocker, they were just Shocker light. Well, I'm starting to get hungry. Oops, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Minus one or Shin Godzilla? I'm minus one all the way. I like Shin, but minus one totally. Otobuchi had his hands tied during the production of the Polygon trilogy. Madoka showed he's a dynamic writer, not the best, but he could have done more if not for Toho's meddling. I don't know what went wrong with that trilogy, but everyone involved should be kicking themselves and apologizing for that crap. Kanaka was the writer for Tamers. I haven't seen Tamers. I don't know his name offhand. I don't know the name offhand. Is the cat still with you? Yes, he is. I think he's probably in the bedroom with Karelika because she's currently playing Turtles Shredder's Revenge with Chrysalis Bloodborne, and Silverquill. How do you feel about Space Godzilla possibly being the main villain for Godzilla Kong Supernova? I have no opinion on that. I guess. I mean, on one hand, I guess, oh joy, another Godzilla clone. On Claremont X-Men, what are your thoughts on Jubilee debuting her first appearance with Wolverine and Psylocke? I typically hate Jubilee, but it kind of worked with the way Claremont introduced her. But she really is just Shadowcat like light. Bluesky has some good kaiju action, so it's possible, but I understand why you don't want a Godzilla anime. Want to see more books, novels, and comics get adapted into movies. Godzilla already has a very good cartoon from the 90s. I mean, yeah, I guess that one's not, it's not bad. Trigger or 7X? Trigger. 7X is just, I hope, I hope you are going to say, Ora Sanjo. What do you prefer, Hot by Remy, Serial Experiments Lane, or Technolives? I prefer Lane of the three. I've actually never watched Rainme or Technolize, and I couldn't make it past the first episode of Lane. At some point, I would like to give those series a try, but probably not going to happen anytime soon. I don't even think any of them are in print anymore. What do you consider the most overrated Sentai Rider and Ultra show that everyone loves but you can't enjoy? The most overrated Xade for Rider. For Sentai, uh, I don't know for Sentai because nobody really praises the series I don't like, that I can't stand. Mm, I don't know. So Rider is Xade. Ultraman is Leo. I guess Ultraman would be Leo because people talk about Leo all the time, and I'm like, it's okay. Thoughts on Xenosaga? I never played it, but I kind of wanted to, just never got around to it. Have you considered doing a vlog channel all these years? I don't know what the vlog channel would be, what the difference would be. Gotta go now. Bye, Kaiju. Well, see you, Ricardo, whenever you left. Okay, I am getting hungry, so let's start going through some of these quickly. I'm not going to read the ones that are. What just happened? Oh, there we go. That's name is mentioning Udis. Udis is talking about the name. I've watched and reviewed 33 new anime this year. Nice, Nick. Nice job. That's pretty awesome. You think Kamen Rider is more difficult to adapt compared to Sentai's Rider tends to be more dark and violent, and that a Sentai as a team of heroes more marketable than just a single hero? Well, given how much Sentai or Kamen Rider these days have multiple heroes, I don't think that would be an issue. I don't think having being darker and more violent would be an issue either, because they've shown they can cut that stuff out. I think it's more of whenever they try to adapt Kamen Rider, they're just trying to live off of the Power Rangers name. Do you prefer Final Fantasy 7 or 8? I lean more to 7 for the feminine undertones of romance, but 7 did have Sephiroth and a sense of dread. I prefer 7 over 8. Not just for its story, but also just the gameplay. I prefer 7's gameplay over 8. Psylocke, did you find out with her turning from British lady to no? Because I already knew that was a thing since I grew up in the 90s when Psylocke was Asian. But I don't understand, yeah, other than Jim Lee just wanted to draw a ninja, why they did that. Oh, I am basically caught up. Ultraman Nexus is my personal favorite of the series. I'm drawn to the more serious tones. Not a fan of comedy, so it's only natural for me. I like Nexus a lot. They just screwed it up in the end. Not all Paul brothers are bad. Aaron Paul was nice. I don't think he's actually has any relation to them, but why Trigger sucks so bad? Why doesn't Trigger suck so bad? Favorite Ninja Ranger from Mega Ranger? Probably Yellow. I don't know. I think yellow is probably my favorite. I love slow burn anime personally. Slow burn's not the problem. It's I don't know. It's just Lane. I don't think it was really. I didn't like the girl in Lane. I thought she was kind of lame. Valkyrie Profile or Profile 2. I prefer Profile for the story and Profile 2 for the gameplay. Two of the greatest games ever made. Never played Valkyrie Profile. What are your thoughts on Claremont's New Mutants with Demon Bear and Legion storylines? I thought those were really good. I love the Demon Bear arc. I loved how horror-esque it felt. Legion was pretty good too. Are you ever going to review God Mars? That's what Krillika keeps asking me. You know, I don't know. I mean, I have the Blu-ray still. I have the file still ripped, and I have a mostly finished script, but I don't know if I'm ever going to get to it. Just because taking away time to review God Mars means taking time away from another Toku show. But we'll see. Thoughts on the New Mutants characters? My favorite, well, Magic, um, Mirage, Cannonball are probably my top three favorites. I like Warlock. Um, Things got weird with Karma because she disappeared randomly. Then she came back like really, 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 really big. And it was weird how they got her back to being normal and then she just disappeared again. When will you do a retrospective on Castlevania? I don't know. Probably next year since I'll have the whole Castlevania series, at least the 2D games. I was going to do it this year, but it doesn't seem like my collection is going to ship until um, October, and things just got screwy this year with the move and everything. Evangelion is good, but not top five. Probably not even top 10 for me. I think people overrate it, but see, Evangelion has some good stuff, but I agree, it's overrated. Do you plan on doing any official review for -1 like you did with the other Godzilla films? I will. It just got shuffled because of everything moving. No, I asked for your favorite of the second monsters from Mega Ranger. No. Oh, for the monsters. Um, Favorite monsters of Mega Ranger. Favorite monsters. I like the wasps. I like the bats, or the wasp, the bats. The crocodile's kind of cool. Um, let's see. What were the other ones the one I really, really liked as well? I can't think of the other one right now. Oh, I like the moth. The moth is really cool. Someone said that Loopot would work better in the 2000s. Possibly. On New Mutants in the 80s, people thought Doug Ramsey was lame because his powers were not seen as cool. What are your thoughts? I've always been a fan of Cannonball, but my introduction again to him was in X-Force. So by then, he had already mastered his powers. Personally, I think -1 holds up better than Shin. I think Shin is overrated, but I like the stretch of solo Godzilla films allows for deeper storytelling. It does. I would like to see more monsters, though, at some point. You're right. I guess maybe anything is adaptable. It just needs to be done right. Do you think we'll get a Shin Super Sentai? Jake, hello. Um, Probably not. But yeah, GMK is probably my favorite iteration. I love GMK. Very explosive presence and distinct personality. I love the ending when he turns to blow up the sub but dies. Cool moment. Toho should have thrown the bank and Higuchi to do the effects work for them. I love in GMK. The effects work is incredible. I love how much collateral damage there is. Like when Godzilla blows up planes, you see the planes crashing into things. When he blows up Ghidorah, it's raining monster bits. When he's chasing Mothra, his beam, when you have that shot of him shooting his beam at Mothra, Mothra flies by the building full of the soldiers, and then there comes Godzilla's beam and blows it up. You're finished with playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You want to preheat the oven?
Or
Pizza?
oh, okay, I wasn't sure if that's what we're having for lunch.
Unless there's something else you want.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to rather do.
Not really.
Okay.
Villamix is Sambash. Giant God Warrior appears in Tokyo, has better effects than most Godzilla films. Don't know that one. You've seen my comments, but I hate the Heisei era. Kawakita was horrendous in his effects work. Yes, Kawakita was awful. Okay, so somebody was asking me, and I don't see their comment here, so I will tell them it's at the 2-hour mark. But they're asking me for my favorite Goosebump covers, and I said it'd be easier to do in this Q&A than in an actual tumult. Well, I like Welcome to Dead House because I love the blues with the little orange coming through. Let's see. Seichi is and Die, love that cover. Just the entire family. Let's see. Another favorite of mine. The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. Purples, the greens just pop out, and I love the Scarecrow in the cornfield. Ghost Beach's cover makes me think of A Christmas Carol with the Ghost of Christmas Future. I just love hooded ghost figures. Let's see, another one of my favorite covers. The Cuckoo Clock of Doom. I love the perspective of this one, how we have the bird gigantic here, and the clock looks so small because of how far it is. Again, like Welcome to Dead House, I love the colors of the Headless Ghost with the darks in the foreground and the orange in the background or on the wall, and then it's dark again back here. I really like Ghost Camp's cover because I like the girl in front of all the invisible kids. And the lightning effect is pretty cool. Actually, I love the facial feature on Legend of the Lost Legend for the Viking girl. Her face is just like, I ain't taking no shit. Like this cover as well. I just love how the orange jack-o'-lantern faces pop against the dark colors. And then let's see. Is that the last one? Yes. The Curse of Camp Cold Lake. I love, the reflection in the water, the skull coming out. Again, the dark colors with the orange in the background, the ripple effect going on. So to add whatever, I think he was the one that asked me about the Goosebumps covers. Those are my favorite covers for Goosebumps. Let's see, Scorpina or Captain Gregory? Captain Gregory? I'm trying to remember. Sia Russian, Giant God Warrior, short-lived, direct-to-Toku film by Anno and Higuchi, based on the kaiju from Nazca Valley of the Wind. Do you like the comedy in Turbo? Could have been so, or do you think the comedy in Turbo could have been so much from the beginning of the series? I just hate Turbo completely. I hate how they traded in the Zeo Crystal for car power. I hate how they replaced Zen and Rita after they just came back with Divatox. I thought Divatox was a terrible villain. They did nothing with her character arc. Sia name, surname. I am going to be finishing up. I will just actually, I will unbox one of these right now. I'll do a live unboxing for one of these, and I'll record the other one and show off the other one in that video. So let's go with eeny, meeny, miny, left or right. Which one should I unbox? What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm going to end with this right here. Left it is. All right. Do I have something to rip this open? Yes, I do. All right, Mill Creek unboxing. Let's see what we've got. Ooh. Bubble wrap, got my bubble wrap. All right, so they sent me a thing called 1923 Season 2 with Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford. I have no idea what this is, but there's the front, the spine, upside down, other side, and the back. I got to remember the camera's right there. And that's the slip cover. So here is the product, the back, or the spine, I mean not back, and the back side. So let's open this up. I have never heard of this. A Yellowstone origin story. Sure. We'll go with that. There's no garbage there. Okay. Oh. All right. So it is 3 discs, it looks like. So discs 2 and 3 are stacked. Oh, what do we got here? Behind here. We've got disc 1, The Killing Season. The Rapist is Winter. Wrap thee in terror. Disc 2, Journey of the Rivers of Iron. Only gunshots to guide us. The Mountain Teeth of Monsters. Special features for disc 1, Behind the Story. The Killing Season. The Rapist is okay. I guess they're like making ofs. See, disc 2 has them on all 3 episodes. Disc 3, A Dream and Memory. Special features, Behind the Story, Darkness Cannot Hide, The Shroud of Writers, Production Design and Costumes, The Women of 1923, 1920 Tiona Story. What would you bring back from 1923? So those are the bonus features. So disc 1, so it has 3 episodes. Disc 3 has 1 episode, and disc 2 has 3 episodes. So that is my unboxing of this, which I will bring up when I do a regular unboxing video for this. Is this even Mill Creek? No, this is Paramount. Ugh, it's Paramount. Okay, sure. So that is my unboxing for my first ever live unboxing. All right. It's got to be Decker, right? We'll find out. But who knows? So, as always, click like, subscribe, the bell notification. Whatever else you guys are clicking and support me. You can support me on Patreon and Bluesky at Toku Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, my website, creativitydesign.lc.com. You can buy Kaiju no Kami merchandise. There's also GoFundMe's in the description below, one for health purposes and one for helping the channel survive another 10 years. We still have to kind of pay the health bill for that. So, yeah. And as always, check out all the content. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. And until next time, bye. End stream.